Hello and welcome to another little update video for the WiPi Netbooter. I realise it's been a few months since I've done one of these, so I just thought I'd do a little bit of a catch up and show how far I've got with various different features. Now, the last video I did, I think, was about the Dragon-minded netboot menu selector. So that's now been implemented into the build. There's a couple of different themes. You can have a dark or a light theme based on your preference. But it works exactly the same as I showed in the demo before. And that's now available via this menu icon here, on-screen menu. That will appear if you've got a Naomi because it's a Naomi specific feature. So if we have a look into options, you can enable it there, and that basically just shows it or disables it on the main menu. And that's only available if you've got a Naomi NetDim configured. So you can configure your NetDims under setup and manage NetDims. You can see that I've got a Naomi setup. If I didn't have one set up, it wouldn't even give you the option to display the menu. I've added a new tick box here as well for OpenJVS. So this is an OpenJVS target that just shows you, obviously because there's only a one-to-one relationship between your Raspberry Pi Netbooter and your, I suppose you could run more than one OpenJVS setup, but I've added that just because it means that if you've got multiple systems set up, say you've got two Naomis or whatever, and you want to use OpenJVS, you put a tick in the box, you hit update there, and it's just a one-time select. So if I wanted to with the Chihiro, I'll tick it there, click update, and there you go, just a one-time. So it just only allows you to select one of the systems for OpenJVS. So I mean, I suppose at some point I could put in have multiple adapters. I'm using the OpenJVS hat, and this rather swanky little case which fits really nicely actually. I can't remember if I showed this last time, but it's an off-the-shelf case. It just happens to fit really nicely with the OpenJVS hat. Okay, right, what else have I got? So that menu, market options. So yeah, you can choose light or dark theme for that. I've also got this OSN mode set to replay all once, and this is for people who don't use OpenJVS. So if you're using a real cab, so if you wanted your menu to reappear every time you restart your cab without having to restart the Pi. So I know some people run their Pis separately to their cabs. They don't run them wired in. They actually run a network cable from the NetDims and run the Pi as like a little server on their network. If you didn't have OpenJVS and you were just using regular JVS I/O, the only way to restart that menu normally would be to relaunch it. So this has got this thing called replay mode. Have it in once mode, it just sends the menu once, and then it's like fire and forget. You choose your game, you switch off your cab, you start again, you reset the menu. In replay mode, provided your Pi's still switched on somewhere, if you want to get the menu to reappear on your cab, you just power off your cab, power it back on again, and it will automatically reset the on-screen menu back to your machine. The rest of these options are pretty much the same. I'm not sure if I covered server mode before. So that's like an extension to single boot mode. So single boot mode is when every time you start up your machine, it automatically sends the default, whatever default game you've got set configured against your NetDim. And server mode runs, actually it's a script called NetDim Ensure, which is part of the Dragon-minded suite of tools, and that will basically run like a server. So whatever default game you choose, provided your Pi is switched on, whenever you power your cab on, your Pi will automatically detect that the cabs come up, and then once the NetDim is ready to be sent to game, it will automatically send that default game to the machine. So you can leave your Pi running on your network somewhere, and just a little netboot server. And to change the game that you get booted every time, you just go into the NetDim setup menu and change the default game. Relay reboot is still in there. Time hack, obviously, video sound, that button. I think all the others are the same. Apart from LCD mode. Oh, sorry, that was there before. LCD color. This was a special request that somebody put in on Arcade Projects. Seems certain models of I think it might be the newer models. You can choose the backlight color for your LCD, and I think it's left to default with none because that actually removes that line, which was causing a problem for somebody. So yeah, you can change the color of your backlight, or you can update it there, or you can just choose none. Whichever setting, whichever version of the little 16:2 menu that you've got. What else have I been up to? Card reader emulator. Been doing loads of work on that. So now we support Initial D 1, 2 and 3, F0X on Triforce, Mario Kart and Mario Kart 2 on Triforce, and Max Tune and Max Tune 2 on Chihiro. So now you can get, I'll show you if you actually click on there. There we go. So we've got card printing in the interface for those. So I've overhauled the card reader itself, and also added the card reader interface, card printing interface in. Max Tune. Yeah, there is one there for Max Tune. That took a little bit of time to get all these little bits and bobs all lined up, but the icons will work really well now. And there's Max Tune 2, and there we go. So now every card emulator mode supports card printing in the interface, and also NFC cards as well. And where are we? Go card management. There we go. So again, you've got the different modes there, and you can go and you can actually delete the files, or you can copy them onto an NFC card if you wanted to. And also you can do a check card, so a little stack of cards here. If I do that, watch that on the card reader, it'll read that. And that's an F0X card. Got a stack of ones I've been working with here. New project though, exciting new project. I picked up a new type of card, which are these ones, which are MyFair cards. That's a MyFair Classic, that's a 4K card. But I want to add in support for the 1K, the 2K and the 4K versions of these. And the reason I've got these 4K cards is because I have now got a ring gauge board, and I've also been given very kindly by Winter Is Coming, the guy that initially wrote all these card reader emulator scripts. He's handed over his Initial D version 4 to Initial D version 8 Python emulator, and now I've got a ring edge. I've also got a working version of Initial D 8, so I've been working hard on updating the workflow for that, adding in NFC support, and I've got that working. I can't demo it at the moment, I've got my naming set up, but I'll do a separate video on that. So at some point there will be support added for these larger cards, because the actual save game itself I think is about 2K, which is too large for the MTAG cards I was using, so that's why I need these large capacity cards. At the moment, because of a bug in my code, I have to use the 4K cards. Some kind of overflow. I haven't quite fixed it yet, but hopefully you'll be able to use a straight 2K card, and that'll get working. Now, of course, if you want printing as well, you have to use a 4K card, just because I've got to be able to fit the print data on the NFC card as well. That's really exciting. Now I know there's already solutions for that. There's Agonite on the French forums. He's got a little dedicated board, which I've actually bought. I've actually got a box actually down here. Again, I can't demo this at the moment, but I will do a separate video. So that's this little board here, which is really cool. It actually supports Naomi and I think all of them actually. I think that does all the systems on one little board. It's got some little buttons, and it comes with this little LCD screen. Obviously it's completely self-contained, and you can't get to any of the code or anything. It's all pre-compiled and everything in there. So there's no sort of open source version of it. Now there's also a Windows version going around, which I think is used for with the Technoparrot emulator, and that supports initially 4 and 5 on the Limburg, and then the rest of them on the Ring Edge. Now I don't think you can go above initial D8 because I think 0, the cards, all the data was actually stored on a server rather than being on the card. So I think initial D8 is probably the latest version I can go to. But yeah, as I say, I've got that. It's quite an early state, so it's all via command line. But I can read card data off the card, load it into the game, and I can write the data back from the game to the NFC card. So it shouldn't be too much work to put that into an interface. I've also got card scans for everything, so the card printing side's ready to go. Now initial D8 didn't really print much onto the card. It was pretty much just a name and a license code and maybe like a rank icon. But I have got a copy of initial D6 which had the full card printing, so it printed like a little picture of your avatar and a bunch of other stuff on the card. So I'll use that probably as the test bed just to get some test print data out. And get it all hooked up and working in the interface. So that'll be a separate little add-on section. I'm also going to be doing a little spin-off project, which is finishing off what Winter is Coming had started as part of all of this, which is like a little card emulator printing server, if you like. So kind of like a mini version of WiPi. It's just going to be concentrating on doing the card printing and card emulation stuff. All that functionality will still be included into WiPi. Just that will be, if anyone wants that as a separate little product and doesn't actually want to be netbooting stuff, they can use that if they wanted to. I think that's pretty much it. I don't think of anything else. As I say, I've finished off all the multi-dim support, so all that's working properly now. What else is there? Nothing else on OpenJVS, I don't think. Oh, there's the updater, of course, which I think I covered before. So this is quite cool. So instead of having to, every time I started releasing these images, they're all like 32 gig images because they've got all the stuff baked into them. It would take forever to upload, forever to download. So rather than do that, I've put a little updater in here. There we go. And this uses deb packages. So I've used a little packager, deb packager, and in the background it's actually running an apt update command. And those files are stored on a separate GitHub repo that I've created for this, but it just means that I can now release little incremental updates. I haven't got to just do full releases every time. I think there probably will come a point at some point when I'm going to have to do a full release, maybe like a version 7. But for the time being, this is working really well. It allows me to push out little code, little bug fixes and add-on bits of code, which is great. Yeah, and I think that is pretty much where we are. There was one other thing, which is I added in. It's not actually anywhere in the interface, but I've added in camera support for Mario Kart GP and GP2, and you can use. I'm using a Logitech C270 webcam. It's like a little 720p webcam, USB one, and provided that's plugged into the device when you netboot the game, it will automatically it will feed that image feed through into the Triforce game itself. There's a few caveats to that. You have to set up a particular IP address when you're doing that. Instructions will be going into the manuals shortly for that. If you're interested in seeing that running, might do a separate little video on that. See how far we get. But yeah, I'll be back with the initial D8 card stuff very shortly. But that's everything for now for WiPi. Thanks for watching.